going to start taking off the muffler and then working our way up to the heat shields and removing all of that. So for the muffler, this is a slip-on that I put on, but it still uses the stock hardware. So you'll need a 3/16 Allen head. This is just one I got from Harbor Freight. And there should be two Allen head bolts here, mixed with a, let me double check, should be a 9/16 bolt right here for the clamp. You can see that. So, I'm going to go ahead and start on that. Oops. Okay. And then we've got bolt. Sorry, it's a 9/16, not a 5/16. And you want to get this nice and loose. Now, the problem with a lot of these mufflers is they end up kind of seizing onto the header because of the heat cycling. So, we're going to see if I can pull it off. If I can't, it might take a little bit of persuasion. There we go. Okay. So this is the band clamp that you're loosening with the 9/16 to be able to pull it off. So set that off to the side, and we'll start on the heat shields. So we got the heat shields. The muffler's off now. So the next step is taking off all the heat shields. From what I've heard, this is the part that sucks the most. So we got two on the bottom section here, and then we got two on, I believe, each of the header pipe runs there. So the size of 5/16. It's amazing how loose that was. Wow. So we're going to fully loosen these, I guess, and slowly pull these off. Clamp is loose. Great. So just got the first one. Now we're fully loosening them, so you're actually taking it out of its sleeve there. That way you can fully just pull the thing straight off. I'm sure there's another way to do it, but this is the way around it. Okay, so that's the forward clamp. So in theory, you should be able to grab it and pull it straight off like that. So this is how it's attached. You've just got your band clamp that runs through. If you want to put it back on, you just slide it into the lower section below the screw, and then you just screw it right exactly like this. So that's the bottom one. There's your cap, or what's supposed to be a cap. You know, that is what you've done to it on your own time. So you can be able to run whatever you may have done on your own time. And then you got two on this side, on the rear cylinder side. Now these things aren't super tight, so it shouldn't be hard to do. It's a little meticulous as far as, you know, keeping pressure on the bolt so it doesn't come off. Here's your backside cylinder. Wow, maybe not blue, that's from how hot it gets. Then on this side, here we got two, one down low. A very inconvenient spot, right under the, right under the foot controls here. Now these are stock foot controls, so I guess mids, even though on a Lowrider mid is not quite mid, but, you know, you don't touch it too much. Okay, so you got all the heat shields off, just a header, and we're going to pull off the foot controls here. So it's a T47 that we're going to need, so let me get started on that. Actually, we're going to put an extension. And there should be only 2 bolts. It's tight on there, but that's, I mean, I'm glad it is, honestly. Okay, that's one side. Grabbed a couple towels so we don't scratch everything up, because it is an HD, which means high dollar or $100. Insert your Harley Davidson joke here. Okay, so it just swings down out of the way, and it stays on this little brake bar, so that works out. Okay, so now you should be able to go ahead and get started on the 2 bolts left that hold the header on, and then also we've got this bracket on the camera. There's a bracket here that also is no longer staying because it's for stock exhaust only. Okay, so I figured out the best way to pull off the front bolts or nuts for the exhaust. And the way to do that is you get a wobbly bit for the extension, and then also get one of the elbows or whatever you call these things, you know, the floppies, and you put it's a 1/2-inch nut. And the hard one is not this one that's where I'm inserting here. Let's make sure you can see. Maybe not. The hard one is not the rear facing nut. It's the one that's up next to the radiator, and you'll have to kind of come up under and through to just get it. Now they're not super tight, which is not bad. It's just the angle's weird, and you want to make sure you're not hitting on your radiator and causing damage. So now we just have the rear left. So let's see here. Gonna noodle it up, and I mean it's like I haven't even loosened that, and it's just coming right out. So you know, it doesn't take a lot. So we'll go ahead and pull these off. Oh, almost there. And there's your nut. We'll set it here. And then the rear one, you're going to come up under the pipe. Let me just bang off of everything. And then bam. Now you don't want to have a lot of force in doing these. I mean, you don't want to snap something off of the header or something like that. That's just not a fun time. And honestly, I just want to put on my new exhaust and call it a day, so. Boom. There he is. Let me not drop things, because it'll be lost forever. Okay. Boom. So now, everything's loose. Here's what we're going to do. I have a plan. Once we pull the header pipe out, I'm going to take these Ziploc bags, loosen our O2 sensors, put them into the Ziploc bag, and then put a zip tie around it to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. That way, while we're waiting on the package to get dropped off with a new exhaust, you know, nothing's getting damaged, nothing's getting hurt, all that. So, let's go ahead and get started with that. So, we pull out on both. That is surprisingly easy. Okay, and I'm going to support it with my hand. It's not heavy. And then I'm going to look around because I left my, crap. I left my stuff, like my big pipe wrench, over in the garage. So, we're going to hold that there, let it just kind of rest, that way it doesn't plop down and break anything. And we're going to grab that. Hold on. Okay. That was cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this up and out. We're going to take this adjustable wrench. Loop, loosened her up, and we're just going to unscrew her. Obviously, you can twist these wires, you just don't want to break a wire, you want to be sure that, you know, everything's good. So, there's that, there's your stock O2, and we're going to stick with our plan. So, open up this bag here. Put the bag over it, because we don't want any weird greases or anything getting on the end of that O2 sensor. They're very sensitive to heat or change, and, you know, we really don't want to break that. So boom, good to go. Once the new one comes in, I can just clip those, screw it in, good to go. Alright, now let's go ahead and do the front one. Let's see here. Number. So we'll just go ahead and loosen it up. It's really not tight at all. This one's a little bit more tight, but still nothing that can be broken or, you know, so we so. Just be patient. There we go. Now we're tight. Bloom. Rock this out of the way. Over it, and then we'll zip tie it so it doesn't fly away with the wind or anything while we're waiting. And now, since I'm waiting on Brown Santa Claus, aka UPS, we just sit here and we wait. But it should be pretty simple. Now, since my bike only has about 3,000 miles, I don't need to be changing the, I'll show you. There's a gasket in here. Now, from what I've heard is you really don't have to change it if you're super low miles. But if you have higher miles, I only have 3,000. If you have higher miles, that tends to dry up and crack and become an issue. I would go ahead and change that since you're in there. I don't need to worry about that. I've even talked to the guys at Stealth. They said I should be totally fine. So now we just wait. And once the pipe comes in, I'll unbox it and we'll slap it on. Okay, well, since I don't seem to be recording anything in order, we still have to pop these off. So let me grab the correct size for this, and we will go ahead and pop that off. Since the new bracket comes with it. You have a 5/16 bit here for these two bolts. God, that is tight on so here's the stock bracket. Yeah, that's got a little bit of weight to it. All right. And while I'm waiting, I'll go ahead and just thread these, just a couple threads in. That way we don't lose the bolts, because I know me, and I know that I lose everything that I touch. So, boom. Okay, so we got the pipes in the mail, finally. It only took all day, but it's fine. So, let's see what it looks like. Ooh. There's a cup. Pretty cool. We got a bracket. The pipes themselves, which, wow, they look good. And I assume this is the muffler. Yep, it is. With a band clamp on it. That's even better. Okay. There's something in the pipe, so I'm gonna make sure it's not something, you know, needed. Oh, that's super cool. So, okay, so it comes with O2 bungs. So if you want to use wide bands, I assume it's already got wide band bungs on the pipe. And then these are for whether you want to block them off or use the stock O2s, which for now I'm just using stock O2s. So this is perfect. That's really cool. Alright. And then you get a little card. There's also a bottle opener. That's really cool. This is really cool. You can tell they laser etched it and all that. Okay. Wow, this is the cleanest that these are ever going to look. And yeah, these are definitely wideband O2 bungs, so I'm going to have to, for sure, go ahead and install those other ones. So while we're right here, might as well do that. Zip locks, that's nice. And it also comes with crush washers, so make sure you use that. Take the other one and the crush washer for it. Some other bolts here with lock nuts, so I don't see any instructions, but I'll double check in the box. If I do see them, I'll let you know. Wait, these might be the instructions. Is on there. Let's see here. So they do have a QR code here that you can scan and get instructions for installation, which I will check off of camera. That way you're not just sitting here in silence like you've already been doing anyway. Alright. Okay, so here's the bracket that they sent out with the exhaust. Got a flat side and it kind of bends outwards and goes back. That's going to go right where the old bracket came off. It's a lot smaller, so go ahead and if you still have your let's see, 5/16 on there, then you should be good. I went ahead earlier and, oops, just placed them there. So it'll be easier. You can just slot it on in. I'm gonna use a little dabby do of blue Loctite because I don't want these coming off later. Oop, that was a lot of blue Loctite, but it's still more than enough. So, there we go. Let's go ahead and start threading it in. Let it kind of hang for a second while we get the other one ready.
You don't have to slide the things. It's just, it's locked in the threads that it's engaging. As it engages, it'll move it through the threads. So, we'll be completely fine. Okay, so we're threaded, so you can go ahead. Bring it home.
We're not gonna super snug them, we're just getting them mostly tight. In case anything needs to move around while installing. Let's go ahead and loosen that like a quarter turn. There, that way you can still wiggle a little bit, which is fine. Next, I think we're probably going to be installing the actual headers on. There's a trick that we're going to use where we're going to use a zip tie around the header to stop it from, to stop the collar from coming back down and making it harder for you to put on. Because you only got two hands, so you gotta do the best you can with it. Zip ties. First things first, I'm going to take these adapters, we're going to go ahead and snug them up really good and tight. So you're going to get your fingerprints and stuff all over, which we're going to wipe it down later. But first things first is, turn the camera just a little bit. Oops, that's the last turn. We've got these collars here that are automatically on it. They welded it in, which is awesome. We're going to go ahead and just route a zip tie on the outside of it. I'm going to tighten it down so it's harder to move. That way, when we go to put these in, they're still held up and they're not scratching all the header pipe and making it look like trash, which no one wants. So, go ahead and do that. Cool. Now, next step is we're going to take our O2 sensors that we previously took off, and I'm going to start threading them in. I'm going to go ahead and grab some anti-seize for just the threads on the O2, not on the end. You don't want to be touching this diode here. Now I'm going to put the front O2 on first. So let me go ahead and turn them angle. I don't know what you can see, what you can't. I think this is about right. Let me go ahead and take the zip lock off. Let me grab my anti-seize. You don't need a lot, just enough, so that later when you probably put, oh, that is a lot of anti-seize, and I'm just making it worse. Okay, so that's fine. What I'll go ahead and do is I'll take it, just put it on the threads, and then I'm going to wipe off on the end there so that I don't end up messing this up. So now I'm going to set this up. We're going to go ahead and preload the wire a few turns so that I can thread it in without it kind of kicking back and spinning the opposite direction. Boom. And we're going to tighten that up here. It's a little difficult with, you know, only two hands. If you've got help, then obviously I would recommend get some help, but it's not too bad. good and tight. Okay. Same thing as before. We're going to try and do a lot less anti-seize and not make a giant mess this time. We'll see how that goes.
Very nicely.
Okay, this is how it should look. Can you see? I might need to bring the camera closer, but let's see. Go ahead and set you up here. So kind of how this looks. You don't want to be touching the diode, you just want it on, the anti-seize on the threads. So now that they're on, go ahead and move you a little bit. Same thing as before. I'm gonna grab, let me wipe off my hands real quick. Honestly, gloves would be really great, so you don't get your hand grease all over, less to clean up later. But so go ahead and keep it pre-twisted. Get her lined up. Go ahead and whoop.
Mostly there. Cool.
And we'll grab our big doohickey here. Okay. Now, of course, if you ever switch it up, go get a Thunder Max or something like that, and you get a wideband, you'll have to be rerouting all this stuff anyway. But since I'm not doing that yet, we're gonna go ahead and glue you up. This is where the fun begins. We need to start installing the header. So since we have our zip ties on there that are kind of holding everything a little bit more straight, we kind of have to just kind of angle everything just right. Boom, that's already lined up and slotted in. So let me go ahead and get one of the nuts and at least just get it threaded so it kind of holds on. That way it allows me to have the other hand free. Now, same thing for this side.
Slide that over. Slide the cover over. Very hard to get a good angle for the camera, so just.
I want to make sure, it's not hitting on anything or anything like that. And then, of course, get all the rest of the nuts in there and start snugging them up.
Be even with your pressure. You don't want to tighten one side of that piece there, the collar. You don't want to tighten just one side and not tighten the other. Your collar just got shift in the wrong direction, which no one wants. So, go ahead and get the other one. Now, this is the difficult bolt. This is the forward-most head bolt. That's where we're probably going to be fighting.
And as long as it's lined up, which it is, we don't need to use a ratchet at first. We can just use the extension with the wobbly bit, and since it's short, we can just place it in softly, as softly as we can. Try to line this up. Well, that did not work, and I just lost the nut. That's awesome. Okay, hold on. It's just a very loose wobbly bit. sure that you're not cross-threading anything. So just do it by hand. Get it, start threading in. Once everything's threaded a decent amount, that's when we can start torquing things, going the right direction with that. Okay, still need to torque it, but here's the header on the bike. It looks super clean and nice. I mean, I would hope so. You know, it's made to order and all that. You know, but I'm gonna go ahead and tighten all these up, and then we'll get to the first start. Once everything's buttoned up, we'll slide the muffler on. If there's something special with the muffler, I'll record that as well. Okay, so now we got everything buttoned up. Let's see, can you see it? Yep. So next step is take some rubbing alcohol. 90% is totally fine. That is a lot of alcohol. I did not mean to use that much, but that's okay. And wipe down all of the piping, especially any place that you have touched physically with your hand, because any sort of like fingerprints, anything like that that you left on that pipe will show up and it will suck.
It'll never come back off, but it will, it'll take a lot of work. And no one wants to do all that, so. Get up in there. Still a lot of alcohol, but that's gotta be clean. So it's fine. The other side. Make sure that all of the little bits off of it.
Let me set up some microphones and we'll give it a first start, and then from there we'll get it up to idle, let it fully warm up with, you know, up to operating temperature, then shut the bike off, let it cool all the way down, and that allows you to start getting that gold and, you know, golden blue and very beautiful piping, and it allows it to just have a clean heat cycle.